Picture this. You've just binned it mid-race, dropped a shed load of points, and your championship position has gone right down the Swanee. But the very next morning, you're back on the same circuit. Faster, sharper, and grinning like you've just won the pools. That's Marc Marquez for you. And in this video, we're getting into three things properly. What actually went down at Monday's Jerez test? What upgrades have got Marquez flying again? And just how badly his 2026 title defense is hanging by a thread. Settle in. This one's worth your time. Right, let's start with the uncomfortable bit. At Sunday's Spanish Grand Prix, Marc Marquez crashed out. Not a gentle slide into the gravel. He was gone before most people had finished their halftime cuppa, and the championship standings took note immediately. He now sits 44 points behind title leader Marco Bezzecchi. 44 points before we've even hit the halfway mark of the season. That's not a gap you shrug off. But here's the thing about Marquez, and this is precisely what separates him from the rest of the paddock. The bloke turned up on Monday without so much as a furrowed brow. Quite the opposite, in fact. He quipped that crashing out early meant he was fresher than expected for the test. Absolutely shameless and brilliant. He backed that up with actions, too. 68 laps completed across the day, physical condition reported as okay, and crucially, a boot full of new Ducati parts waiting to be unwrapped. Now, this is the part the tech heads have been waiting for. Ducati rocked up to Jerez with a clear agenda, find answers to the niggles that have been dogging them all season. And they didn't come empty-handed. Several new components arrived without so much as a lick of paint on them, making it dead easy to spot what was old and what was new. First up, a new fairing. This was the most obvious change, and you couldn't miss it. The design has shifted considerably wider profile, stretching right out to the edges of the front wing and pushing forward toward the airbox, abandoning that previous aero-like silhouette. The impression, under the watchful eye of aero chief Gigi Dal Igna, is that Ducati are chasing a greater contact surface at the front end, essentially trying to rewire how the whole nose of the bike behaves. Second, a revised swing arm. Aerodynamic changes at the rear end, too. Less flashy than the fairing, but no less important. It governs load distribution and rear stability when you're hard on the throttle coming out of a bend. Third, a modified chassis. Marquez also had a go on an altered chassis. This is the sort of change you feel in your bones rather than see on camera. It directly affects the feedback coming through the bars and the seat every single corner. The outcome? Marquez said he started to feel genuinely more confident at the front end, particularly through left-handers. And why does that matter? Because left-hand corners have historically been one of his strongest suits. And he'd openly admitted struggling there for much of this season, so this isn't some minor tweak. It's gone straight to the heart of the problem. David Tardozzi, Ducati Lenovo team boss, was refreshingly candid with the official MotoGP website. They'd been digging deep into aerodynamics because it appeared to be one of the more promising avenues for development. And they found something. Marc is happy with this new configuration, Tardozzi confirmed. All well and good in theory. But what did the stopwatch say? Marc has ended the day as the fastest Ducati rider, though 3 Aprilias kept him off the very top of the overall timesheet. He briefly led proceedings in the afternoon session with a 1 minute 36.277 seconds. And that's no idle lap time. Worth putting into context, this was the first official in-season test of 2026. MotoGP's strict testing regulations meant it was the first chance Ducati had to run anything genuinely new since the season kicked off. The timing, therefore, couldn't have been more important. Whilst Marquez took to the upgrades like a duck to water, the other side of the Ducati garage told a slightly different story. His teammate Pecco Bagnaia still had a few question marks hanging over certain components. Tardozzi acknowledged as much. The two riders simply want different things from the bike. Marquez needs gains in fast corner speed. Bagnaia is more preoccupied with braking and corner entry. Ducati are trying to keep both men happy, and frankly, that's a proper juggling act. Worth mentioning, too, Fabio Di Gianantonio from VR46, the only other GP25 rider on the grid besides Marquez and Bagnaia, was also roped in to run new parts on Ducati's behalf. That's Ducati being clever, gathering data from multiple riding styles in one go. Back to the elephant in the room. 44 points down to Bezzecchi, Is the title already done and dusted? Not a chance, but it's undeniably more complicated than he'd have liked. Marquez is the reigning world champion. He won the 2025 title with Ducati Lenovo. His 9th world championship and his first after a 6-year drought that, at the time, many questioned whether he'd ever end. The man has clawed his way back from far worse. Cast your mind back to that horrific injury in 2020, the long road back, the move to Gresini, the step-by-step rebuilding of a career that seemed almost finished. And then the triumphant return to the top. If anyone knows how to mount a comeback, it's this bloke. But 2026 is a different animal. Bezzecchi is in the form of his life. Aprilia were rapid at Jerez, and Marquez's rivals are no longer rolling over for him, most tellingly. And there's something gloriously ironic about this. His own younger brother Alex won the Spanish Grand Prix on Sunday, riding a Gresini GP24. The same machinery Marc graduated from a year ago. It tells you everything about how fierce this grid has become. The great hope for Marquez and Ducati is that what they found at Jerez can be carried straight to Le Mans, then Mugello, then Catalunya. The next 3 rounds that will serve as the real acid test of whether this performance can travel. If you've watched Marquez long enough, you'll know one thing for certain. He's at his most dangerous when his back is against the wall. History has proven it time and again, often in the most spectacular fashion. The aerodynamic gains he's found at Jerez address a concrete, specific problem, front-end confidence, particularly in left-hand corners. If that improvement holds up at Le Mans or Mugello circuits with very different characters, then Ducati have genuinely cracked something significant. One more thing worth underlining. This was the first test of the season. Ducati have only just begun distributing updates across the full team. The development program is a long way from over. And as long as Ducati can keep developing faster than their rivals, which they have done rather impressively for several seasons running, Marquez's ammunition will only grow. Right then, over to you lot. Do you believe Marquez can still reel in Bezzecchi and win the 2026 title? Or has this season already slipped away from him? Drop it in the comments right now. Are you firmly in the hashtag Team Marquez camp, or have you already started penciling in someone else's champion? Throw in your podium prediction for Le Mans in a fortnight as well. I read every single comment, and if you say something interesting enough, it might just end up in the next video. If you've enjoyed the breakdown, smash the like button. It genuinely makes a difference to how the channel grows, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you playing at? Every race weekend brings a proper deep dive that you won't find anywhere else. Before you disappear, leave one thing in the comments. Which upgrade do you reckon is the most crucial for Ducati right now? The new fairing, the revised swing arm, or the modified chassis? Pick one and tell me why. I'm genuinely curious which one gets the most votes. Until next time.